They say there's a moment when you finally hit your limit, that point where your soul just screams, enough. Mine landed on May 14th, my birthday. I looked at him across the room and that thought crystallized. Who is this person in front of me? I was 24 when I met Diego. I was working the register at the neighborhood grocery store, living with my mom and grandma in a 2-bedroom house in a working-class area like East Flatbush, you know? My dad had passed away when I was 15, a sudden heart attack, and ever since, I carried this burden of needing to take care of everyone. My mother always told me I was too soft-hearted, that I fell for every nice story I was told. And honestly, she was right. So painfully right. But it took me years to truly understand that. By then it was already way too late. Diego showed up on a Wednesday in March. I remember it vividly because it was the day for the meat specials, and the store was absolutely packed. A total zoo, people shoving carts, kids whining. And then he stepped into my line with a smile that just lit up his whole face, those brown eyes that seemed to look right through me. A neat haircut, clothes simple but clean, smelling of good soap. And man, when he asked my name, made that corny joke about the price of tomatoes being higher than gold, I was already melting. When he handed me his debit card, he held my hand for a few seconds longer than necessary and said, looking straight into my eyes, "You have the most beautiful smile I've ever seen." And that was it. I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. We started dating 2 weeks later. He worked as a mechanic at a repair shop nearby, lived with his mom and 2 younger siblings. He told me his dad had abandoned the family when he was 12, and that he had been the man of the house ever since. I thought that was so admirable, his responsibility, the way he spoke about his mother with such tenderness. On Sundays, he would pick us up to go to the non-denominational church he attended. And my grandma loved him instantly. She would tell me, "This boy is serious, Fernanda. He's a hard worker, God-fearing. He's not running the streets. You found a real man." She'd stroke my hair as she said it, and I believed her. I believed it with everything I had. The first 6 months were a dream. You know that phase that feels like you're living a romantic comedy? That was it. Diego would take me out for a bite after work, give me flowers he picked himself from somebody's front yard. He'd write little notes saying I was the woman of his life. My mother started to relax, to smile more. She told me once, "You deserve to be happy, honey." And I swore to myself I would make that relationship work no matter the cost. And see, that was my first mistake, swearing I would make it work no matter what. But that's when things started to shift, so slowly that I didn't notice at first. The first was his comments about my clothes. He would say, "That top is too low cut, babe. You don't need to draw attention, you're already taken." He'd smile when he said it, but there was a tone that wasn't quite a joke, you know? Then it was about my makeup. "You look prettier natural. That red lipstick is too flashy." And I changed. Seriously, I changed, thinking he was right, that he just wanted to protect me, that it was jealousy, that it was love. My best friend Jessica tried to talk to me. We were having coffee and a scone on a Sunday afternoon in Midtown, and she turned to me and said, "Faye, you're fading out. Where is the girl who used to wear high heels on a Tuesday just because?" I replied, "He just worries about me, Jess. It's jealousy, it's love." She shook her head and I saw the sadness in her eyes, but I still ignored her. I still chose him. A year into dating, Diego started to police my phone. He wanted to know who I was texting. He'd demand to see my messages. He'd say, "If you have nothing to hide, why won't you show me?" And I would show him because I truly had nothing to hide, but he always found something. Always. "Why did your coworker send you a laughing emoji? What were you talking about that was so funny?" And I would explain, justify myself, sometimes even cry because I didn't understand why he doubted me, why he didn't trust me. And then the isolation began. We started going out less with my family. He'd say, "Your mom doesn't like me. Can't you see how she gives me dirty looks? And your grandma keeps comparing me to your dad. I can't handle this, Fernanda. We need our own space." Slowly, Sunday dinners became rare, increasingly rare. And Jessica stopped calling me to go out because I always had an excuse. Always. Diego was tired. Diego had to work Saturday. Diego didn't like that club. The truth was, he didn't like anything that didn't put him at the center. When we hit 2 years, he proposed. It was at his mom's house, in front of his whole family. He knelt with a simple ring he said he'd saved 6 months to buy. And I said yes, crying, because I still believed that was love, that the problems were just a phase. We set the wedding for September, 6 months later. When I told my mom the news, she was too quiet. You know that silence that speaks louder than 1,000 words? That was it. She said, "Are you sure, Fernanda? You're still so young." And I snapped back, "Mom, I'm 26, I'm not a kid, and Diego truly loves me." She just sighed and said she would support me, but I saw that worry on her face that I pretended not to understand. In the months leading up to the wedding, the pressure mounted, big time. Diego wanted to decide everything. The dress. Nothing too flashy, Fernanda. The catering. Your mom wants to spend too much. We don't have the money for that. Even the guest list. Why do you want to invite that friend of yours who only goes clubbing? And people. Jessica wasn't invited. My best friend since I was 12 wasn't invited to my wedding. My mother cried when she found out. "She's been your friend since you were 12, Fernanda." I said it was our decision, as a couple. But the truth was, it was his decision. And I just went along with it. We got married on a Saturday afternoon in September, at the little chapel in the neighborhood. I looked beautiful in my simple dress. He looked handsome in his rented tux. And when the pastor said, "Till death do us part," I felt a tightening in my chest I couldn't explain. But I smiled, because it was my day, because it was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. We moved into a 1-bedroom apartment we rented with my mother's help. It was small, but it was ours, or so I thought. And that's when something happened that changed everything. The first time he laid a hand on me was 3 months after the wedding, December, Christmas Eve. I had gotten a bonus at work, $300, and I bought a perfume I had been eyeing for a long time. When he saw the little bag, he stopped in the living room doorway and asked how much it cost. $120, I said. And seriously, he turned red, pure, furious red. $120 on perfume? Are you insane? We have bills to pay. I said, "But it's my money, Diego. I worked for it." And he replied, "Your money? You're my wife. Everything you have is ours. Or do you think I'm paying for this apartment all by myself?" And that's when he took the bottle and threw it against the wall. The glass shattered. The scent of jasmine filled the entire room, and I just stood there, frozen, staring at the shards, unable to believe what was happening, unable to process that this was actually happening to me. Afterward, he cried. He cried hard, hugged me tight, apologized, said he was stressed with work, that the shop hadn't paid him in 2 months. "I love you so much, Faye. I'm sorry, I'll never do this again, never." And I believed him. I believed him because I wanted to believe him, because separation was unthinkable, because I had promised in front of God and everyone that I would stay with him until death did us part. But it happened again, and again, and again. There was always an excuse. I had taken too long at the grocery store. I had forgotten to make lunch. I had talked back to him. At first, it was just a shove. He'd push me against the wall but apologize right after. Then it was a slap. "You provoked me, Fernanda." Then it was a punch. And I hid the bruises with makeup, wore long sleeves in the middle of summer, that 90-degree heat and me in a long-sleeved shirt. My mother would ask, "Are you okay, sweetie? You're losing weight. You look so tired." And I would lie. "I'm great, Mom. It's just work. I'm pulling extra shifts." But the truth was, I was dying inside, slowly dying, and everyone saw it but me. Financial control came hand in hand with the violence. Diego took over all the accounts, took my entire paycheck when I got paid. "Let me handle the money. You don't know how to manage finances." And he would give me a ridiculous amount weekly, like $50 for the whole week, to buy whatever I needed, pads, deodorant, whatever. And if I asked for more, he'd say, "What did you spend it on, huh? Are you hiding money from me?" And the fight would start again. I completely lost my autonomy. I couldn't buy anything without permission. I couldn't go out alone. He would drive me to and from work every day, said it was to protect me. but it was to control me. The worst part is that sometimes I thought he was right, that I really was incompetent, that I needed him for everything. On my 28th birthday, man, I will never forget that day. Diego left early that morning saying he was going to work and that he'd surprise me that night. "I'm going to make you a special dinner, honey. You deserve it." And I was excited all day, imagining what he was going to do. My mother came over in the afternoon, made a chocolate cake with frosting, the one I had loved since I was a kid. She even brought candles. "You deserve a good day, honey," she said, hugging me. And we set up a simple table in the living room, got everything pretty. We waited. 7 o'clock, 8, 9. He wouldn't answer his phone. No text back. Nothing. 10 o'clock, my mother left, holding back tears. "He must be running late," I said, but my voice was already shaking. I already knew something was wrong. Midnight, he finally stumbled in, drunk, reeking of beer and another woman's perfume. And seriously, that perfume wasn't mine. It was a sweet, cloying scent that caught in my throat as he walked past me. I said, "Diego, where were you? It was my birthday." And he answered, "Birthday? You think I'm gonna sit around like an idiot celebrating a birthday while I'm busting my butt to pay the bills?" I felt the tears rolling down. "But you promised." He cut me off. "I didn't promise anything. Stop being dramatic. Stop the hysterics." And that's when he saw the cake on the table. That cake with the candle wax melted from waiting so long. He laughed, a bitter, cruel laugh, and said, "Your mom made this pathetic cake? What a waste of money. Doesn't your mom have anything better to do?" And then he grabbed the plate and slammed it on the floor. The plate shattered, the china breaking with that sound that echoed through the whole apartment. The cake spread across the living room floor, brown chocolate mixed with white coconut forming a disgusting mess on the floor that I had cleaned that morning, cleaned on my hands and knees because the vacuum cleaner was broken. I looked at it, at that cake on the floor, and something inside me broke too. It wasn't anger. It was a cold, almost painful clarity. You know when you have a revelation, just like that suddenly? That was it. I looked at that destroyed cake and thought, this is it. This is how he treats me. I am that cake on the floor to him. I said, with a voice I didn't recognize as my own, "Grab your things and get out of my house." He laughed again. "Your house? This house is ours, Fernanda." I repeated, "Get out now. Get out of this house right now." He came toward me, took 2 steps in my direction with that look that meant he was going to do something. But this time I didn't back down. I grabbed my phone and said, "Either you leave, or I call the police right now and show them the photos of all the marks you've left on me in the last 2 years." He went white, paper white. "You don't have the guts." I started dialing 911, and he saw I was serious. He grabbed his backpack, shoved some clothes inside haphazardly, took his wallet, his keys, and slammed the door shut. It was 4 a.m. on May 15th, 2019, when I finally managed to truly breathe for the first time in years. The following months were the hardest of my life, difficult in a way I can't even explain. Diego tried to come back 17 times, I counted. 17. He'd text me, "Faye, can we talk? I've changed. I swear I've changed." He'd show up at the grocery store. He even went to my mom's house. He'd call her, "Tell Fernanda I want my fridge. I want my couch. I bought that couch. I have a right to get it." And some days he'd text saying, "You're going to regret this. Nobody is going to want you now. You think anyone will want a used, separated woman?" But I didn't give in. Not once. I changed the locks the next day, blocked his number on everything, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, everything. I requested a transfer at work to another town, and my mother supported me in a way I'll never forget. She slept over at my place for the first few months because I was afraid he'd show up in the middle of the night. She'd say, "You are strong, honey. You always were. You were just confused, just lost. But you found your way back." I started therapy in June. The therapist told me something in the very first session that changed my life. She looked at me and said, "Fernanda, you weren't crazy. You were being manipulated. None of what happened was your fault. Do you understand that? You didn't provoke it. You didn't deserve it. None of this was your fault. And honestly, I cried so much in that office I thought I would never stop. I cried out everything I had held inside for 4 years. All that pain, all that humiliation. It all came out right there. But every session was a piece of me returning, you know? It was like I was gathering the shards of that perfume he had broken on Christmas Eve, putting the pieces of myself back together, slowly, carefully, and little by little, I started to remember who I was before him. I went back to wearing red lipstick. I bought 3 red lipsticks, one darker, one lighter, one more vibrant. I bought a low-cut shirt just because I wanted to, because I could. I called Jessica and apologized. I'm sorry for abandoning you. I'm sorry for choosing him. And she cried with me over the phone. And the following week, she was already at my place with wine and pizza. And we stayed up until dawn talking, laughing, remembering who we were when we were 15 and thought we were going to conquer the world. The divorce went through in February 2020, almost a year after the separation. I didn't ask for anything, didn't want anything from him. I just wanted my maiden name back and my life back. Diego tried to complicate things. Of course he did. He asked for alimony, said I had destroyed his life, that he was depressed because of me. But the judge saw the photos, saw the police report I finally had the courage to file 2 months after he left, saw the threatening messages, and denied everything. Denied everything he asked for. Today, at 32, I have a life I never imagined having. I finished the technical nursing degree I had dropped out of when I got married. And let me tell you, going back to school was one of the hardest things I've done, because I was convinced I wouldn't be able to, that I was too dumb, too incapable. But I did it. I graduated with good grades. I cried on graduation day. I cried so hard, and my mother was there in the front row, giving me a standing ovation. I work at a hospital I love, a large medical center downtown. I wake up every day at 5 in the morning to catch the subway. I come home exhausted, but it's a good tired, you know? It's a tiredness that makes me feel alive, useful, capable. I have my friends back, Jessica, Camila, Renata. We go out every Friday, movies, dinner, clubbing sometimes. And seriously, the first time I went to a club after the separation, I danced so much, that my foot was bruised the next day. But it was worth every second. My mother lives in the apartment next door to mine. We have Sunday lunch together again. She makes that roasted chicken I love. I make the dessert. And we chat for hours on the balcony, drinking coffee, laughing about silly things. And there are days when I look at her and think, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have made it. Because she was the one who held me up when I thought I was going to collapse. My grandma passed away in 2021, but I know she would be proud. I know she looks down at me from wherever she is and smiles, because I made it. I got out. I survived. I rebuilt my life from scratch. On my last birthday, May 14th this year, I threw a party, a real party. I invited 20 people, decorated the apartment with purple and gold balloons, got a 3-tier cake, even hired a DJ. I blasted music until midnight. And when I blew out the candles, with everyone singing happy birthday around me, I didn't make a wish, because I already had everything I needed. Myself back, my essence back, my strength back, my joy back. And you know what was most special? What truly made me cry that day? It was when Jessica made a toast. She raised her glass of champagne and said, "To Fernanda, the strongest woman I know, who fell but got up, who got lost but found her way, who had the courage to start over when everyone said it was too late." And everyone applauded. And I looked around and saw all those people who truly loved me, who had never abandoned me even when I pushed them away. And I thought, this is love. This is family. This is what really matters. I started dating again last year. I met a guy at the hospital. He's a nurse too. His name is Raphael. And honestly, at first I was so scared. So scared of making the same mistake again, of falling into the same trap. But he's different. Completely different. He respects me. He listens to me. He gives me space. He's never checked my phone, never forbidden me from anything. And when I told him about Diego, about everything I went through, he hugged me and said, "You are the bravest woman I've ever met. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life showing you that love doesn't hurt. And look, I don't know if it's going to work out with him. I don't know if we'll get married, have kids, grow old together. But the most important thing is that now I know what I deserve. I know what real love is. And if one day he changes, if one day he raises his voice at me, if one day he tries to control me, I'm walking out the door at that very moment. Because I learned the hardest way possible, that we teach people how they should treat us. There are days when it's still hard. There are days I wake up in the middle of the night with a nightmare, dreaming he's knocking on the door, that he's back. But then I turn on the light, I look around, I see my apartment, my things, my life, and I take a deep breath because I know I'm safe. I built a fortress around me, a fortress made of therapy, self-love, true friendships, of small victories that together became a whole life. And if you're reading this, if you are living what I lived, if you are in that apartment right now, hiding bruises, lying to your family, thinking there's no way out, I'm telling you one thing with absolute certainty. Get out. Get out now. Don't wait for it to get worse. Don't wait for him to change because he won't. It doesn't matter how much time you've invested. It doesn't matter how many years you've been together. It doesn't matter if you have kids with him. It doesn't matter what people will say. It doesn't matter if you think nobody will want you. You are worth more. You are worth so much more than any relationship that makes you feel small, that makes you doubt yourself, that makes you forget who you are. Real love doesn't hurt. It doesn't control. It doesn't humiliate. It doesn't destroy. Real love makes you grow, makes you soar, makes you want to be better every day. Not out of obligation, but because you want to be. And you deserve to be happy. I deserve it. We deserve it. And life after the storm is so good, so light, so full of possibilities, that I only wish I had been brave enough sooner. But I was brave at the right time in my time, and that is already a victory. That is huge. And if I could do it, you can too. I promise you can. You just need to take the first step, and then the second, and then the third, and before you know it, you'll be far away, you'll be free, you'll be flying, you'll be living the life you always deserved to live. Get help. Talk to someone you trust. File a police report. Save evidence messages, photos, everything you can because it will help you later. And when you leave, when you take that first step, you'll see that the world didn't end, that life goes on, and that it can be good, very good, better than you ever imagined. If this story resonated with you in any way, if you related to it, if you know someone going through this, leave your like down below, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos, and share it a lot, because sometimes one story can save a life. And who knows, maybe your friend, your sister, your cousin, your neighbor needs to hear exactly this today, that there is a way out, that there is life after, that happiness is waiting on the other side. Comment below too. Let's create a support network, because nobody should go through this alone. Nobody. And if you are going through this right now, if you need the strength to leave, look at the comments here. Read the stories of other women who made it, who survived, who rebuilt their lives, and you will see that you are not alone, that we are here, rooting for you, believing in you, waiting for you on the other side, the side of freedom, peace, and real life. And I promise you, I truly promise you, that when you get out, when you look back years from now, you will be thankful. You will be thankful you had the courage, that you chose yourself, that you gave your own life a chance, because you deserve it. We deserve it. And we weren't born to suffer. We were born to be happy, to love, and be loved for real. The right way. The way that doesn't hurt. The way that heals. From which city are you watching? Leave it in the comments.